The Art Lewis Show on this September 11th. The way it's going to work this morning, we have special guests for us at 9 o'clock. Kevin Cole is here and Greg Gwaltney is here to talk about some concerts coming up. At 10 o'clock this morning, we've reserved that hour originally just to talk about 9/11 and its consequences, but we will also add a discussion of what happened to Charlie Kirk yesterday. That will be at 10 o'clock this morning. And at 11 o'clock, we will find out about Gateway Healthcare and a big concert they have coming up. So that's what the morning looks like this morning. But as I said, this first hour we're going to spend with our friend who we've dubbed Gershwinologist over the years, and it's sort of stuck. He can't get rid of it. And he is Kevin Cole. Good morning.
Good morning, Art.
And with him this morning is co-producer of what we're going to talk about this morning, Greg Gwaltney. Greg, good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to have you here. So, Kevin.
Yes.
Over the years, you've come back home, so to speak. And while you're here, I mean, you could be traveling the world playing with symphonies, which you still do. But you give back to the community with your performances all the time. And it was last year, I think, that you had this special concert. Tell us what this concert was at St. Albans.
Well, Greg had contacted me via email about a piano dedication. Someone had graciously donated a really nice grand piano to the church, St. Albans in Bay City. And he said, I know this is a long shot, but is there any chance that you might consider doing the dedication for this piano, and what would your fee be? So I wrote him back pretty quickly and said, just tell me the date. There will be no fee, and if the date works out, I'd be happy to do it. So it worked out, and we had such a response to it. The church seats 200 comfortably, that afterwards Greg and I were talking about, I wonder what would happen if we started a concert series.
Of course.
And start with 4 concerts. And Greg said, well, this would be cool because it would coincide with the 60th anniversary of our church. So we talked about it, and we met with the powers that be at St. Albans, and they were excited about it. And so from a little dedication now to a full-blown concert season of free concerts to the public. They do a free will offering just to help the coffers a little bit. But the intimate setting and the acoustics in St. Albans is really marvelous. So it's a way to kind of hear me up close and personal, because I'm kicking it off with an all Gershwin concert. Now people go, well, what's unusual about that?
Yeah.
But I decided it was time to refresh and to restructure my solo piano Gershwin program. And so I did. And this is I call it the test pilot, but Greg likes to call it the world premiere.
I like Greg's version.
Yeah, I think he's a little more on the nose about that. But I call it You Won't Believe Your Ears, the Best of George Gershwin. And the reason for that title is, from early on, from a teenager into my early 20s, because of Ed Jablonski waltzing me in front of Gershwin's sister and his most intimate and close friends. And they said, we haven't heard the piano sound like that since George.
Well, they say you play like him.
Yeah. So I thought, well, don't be shy about it anymore. Put it in print and let people know that it is quite a unusual and remarkable thing. And then, as you know, when I had my brain tumor, I thought, well, this is getting really too close to being George Gershwin. But I'm back in full throttle and excited to be a part of St. Albans' inaugural concert series.
Now, folks, lest you think he has nothing to live on, even though he does these things locally for free, the orchestras he plays with around the world pay for it.
Yeah, that affords me the luxury of things like this. I should point out, though, the good people at St. Albans that are in the administration, we were trying to come up with a title for the concert series, because, you can call it St. Albans Concert Series. Okay, big deal. But St. Albans is such an inclusive and friendly place that the title of this concert series is called Listen to Love, Music and Words to Heal a Heart.
Yeah.
Because, we all need to push that pause button once in a while, and music and lyrics are certainly a way to recharge and...
It's a universal language.
Yeah, and just give us a little break to clear our minds and restart our engines.
Yeah. Greg, tell us a little bit about St. Albans. It's an Episcopal church, right?
Sure, St. Albans Episcopal Church. The church is celebrating its 60th anniversary, as Kevin said. But when people walk in, they'll realize the building is much older than that. 60 years ago, two church congregations came together. One provided the building and one provided the clergy. And so the building is actually a 1910 building. It's
Where's it located?
It's located on Midland Street in Bay City. It sits right between Gephardt's Funeral Home and the old large library.
The Sage.
The Sage Library.
Sage Library, yeah.
Yeah.
So people know exactly where that spot is. It's on the west side. And so the church is, it is a beautiful older church. It's set up in an Anglican style, which automatically gives you sort of a stage. And it's beautiful. But I wanted to share, when we started thinking about this concert series, we thought a lot of churches have series. And some of them have certain themes to them and certain formality to them. And we decided what best fit St. Albans was to have an eclectic series of concerts that could be both secular music and sacred music, that recognized instrumentalists and vocalists and potentially groups. And so we started our search, and thanks to many contacts that Kevin had along the way, we were able to put a series together that really shows variety of music and a real enjoyable time. So, we have Kevin on the 28th coming in. These are all Sundays at 4 p.m., always Sundays at 4 p.m. But in mid-November, November 16th, we have the Jim Pagel Trio, a guitar jazz trio, very well known in our area and beyond. January 18th, we have a professional vocalist named Betsy Scott. She was a Bay City town girl and has made it great and is traveling the world. And Kevin convinced her to come home in January and entertain all of us before she leaves.
Do you play the piano for them?
I'm going to be playing for Betsy. Yeah, she was the lead in Cabaret at Bay City Players a few seasons ago in the summer, if people will remember her. And quite a remarkable talent on the rise. So before she gets into the Brian Darcy James territory where it's hard to reach, I wanted to snag her back. I think people will really enjoy her. And then in March, Greg, we have...
Right, in March, we put our heads together on this one because in Bay City, March means one thing, right? A celebration of St. Patrick's Day. And luckily, Kevin had the right contact. So on March 8th, the weekend before the parade, we will have Carol Kappas. She is an award-winning Celtic harpist and storyteller. She arranges music. She writes music for harp, and she's very well known.
In those circles.
Worldwide.
Yeah, she's out of the Ann Arbor area, and when I went online to find somebody, I went, wait a minute. She's like this hidden gem down there. We got to bring her up here. And just Greg's been dealing with her, just a lovely person.
All right, going to take a break, come back. Kevin Cole and Greg Gwaltney in studio with me this morning. And let me take a moment to tell you about my good friends at McDonald Ford. And, of course, coupled with McDonald Ford is a wonderful, wonderful service location. And you remember, when you get a car, folks, service is important to keep that car running well. And so you will want to stop in and visit my friends at Quick Lane Freeland, part of McDonald Ford. They do all your routine maintenance and service. They also do something else. They keep you healthy in your car because they have a product called FrigiFresh. And I'll tell you, rather than me tell you about it, let's see what John from Quick Lane has to say.
FrigiFresh. Hi, John.
And we're back with you. In studio with me is the great Kevin Cole, also his co-producer of the series coming up at St. Albans Episcopal Church. He is Greg Gwaltney. Somewhere over the history of our association, which is decades now, I must have asked you, but I don't remember, why you were attracted to the piano.
It's very easy. It's because one came into the house. As a kid, my folks saw how I reacted in the crib to when they put their records on, or if there was a show on TV. I was always moving to it or trying to sing to it. So they thought, okay, maybe one of our boys might be interested in music. Because my dad had 3 years of piano when he went to school in Bay City and switched over 6 years of trumpet at Central High School. And people tell me he was a very good musician and trumpet player, but he wanted to raise a family and hunt and fish. He said, I'm not going on the road. This is the late 40s, early 50s, and there were still big bands. But anyway, his sister in Detroit was getting rid of an old upright, and she asked, for 6 brothers and sisters, anybody want it? Just pay for the shipping from Detroit. So my dad said, it'd be nice to have a piano in the house. I still play a little. And came into the house, and then he sat us down and said, who wants lessons? And I said, I do. And my brothers were not interested at that time. And little did they know.
Yeah.
And also our neighbors across the alley had an old upright. And I remember during this, I couldn't have been more than 3.5, 4, because I started at 4.5 with lessons. Sitting down and trying to play, pretend play. And, of course, as little kids do, you press down all the black keys because they sound good. But if you press the white keys all at the same time, they don't sound so good. But now I've learned the combination of black and white.
Have you now?
Yeah, I think I have. Trying to make it harmonious, Art.
Well, Art, I have to tell you, at the concert last year, somebody came up to me that I knew, and this goes back to Kevin's early days. And as we were talking, this lady said, I was the person who took lessons right after Kevin. And so every week I had to sit outside that room and I would hear him play, and then I would have to go in and do my lesson. So she loves to hear him today. She said, but those days were tough.
Well, last year I played a solo concert on Beaver Island because they bring in artists in the summer. And when the concert was done, a couple came up to me and said, oh, hi, I'm talking to them, and we're originally from Bay City, too. I said, oh, great. They go, in fact, you played for our wedding. And I said, oh, I did. And they looked pretty good. And they said, well, we're actually up here celebrating our 50th wedding anniversary. And I looked at them and I said, and you're still together. We all laughed, but I thought, oh, my word, I'm of that age, Well, I started playing weddings right by the time I was in 5th grade, so I would have been like 12, 13 years old. So it makes sense. And my mom used to clip, this is so funny, clip out when they'd have the wedding announcement with the picture of the bride in her dress from the Bay City Times. And one year I saw this box, and it's just full of these clippings. I said, what? I said, are these relatives? Do we know all these people? She goes, never mind. I said, what do you mean, never mind? She goes, well, these are the weddings you played for. And I mean, there were hundreds of them. I said, Mom, we're going to throw those away, okay? It's pretty funny. And also, the other cute thing that happens to me on occasion is someone will come up to me, a mother, and say, you went to school with my daughter. And then another one will say the same and the same. So at a certain point, and I know some of them mean well, but I didn't really go to school with their daughter. I feel like I must have gone to an all-girls school because there's no way I could have gone to school with everybody's daughter. But it is fun to, again, when you do so many, it's just like concerts. People will say, oh, I saw you at such and such, and then you're trying to strain to remember. Yeah. And it's not that you didn't enjoy the experience. It's just that it's just interesting how it leaves an impression a little different from what I do for a living,
How did you become a Steinway artist? Do you go to them? Did they come to you?
Well, this is interesting. There was a Steinway dealer in Chicago when I was living there in the early years by the name of Arlo Deibler. And he had heard me do a program, a solo program in Chicago. And he said, I want you to come out. I do programs at my dealership in the suburbs. So I went out and I did a little program for him. And he says, I can't understand. You should be a Steinway artist. And I said, well, how does that happen? So he said, well, let me see what I can do. So he started courting the main headquarters in New York City, which was at that time Steinway Hall, right across from Carnegie Hall. Mm-hmm. But it took practically almost 10 years for it to happen. And what really put it over the edge, because he would fax everything that was in the paper, reviews, and they just wouldn't budge. Finally, when the main critic, music critic for the Chicago Tribune, said that my concert with the Chicago Symphony at Ravinia was one of the 10 best concerts of the year, I got a call the next day. How would you like to be a part of the Steinway family? And of course I wanted to be. And so then they immediately sent me out to promote a new piano, a lower line Steinway called the Essex. And what's unusual that we're talking about this today, it's just hitting me, Art. I became a Steinway artist in August of 2001. We all know what happened in September. And so they were about to send me out to like 50 dealerships. So there was like, should you go, should you not go? Because my first one was in Four Corners, which was, what is it, Iowa, that area?
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
the Quad Cities.
Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona, Utah.
Yeah. Well, they said, they talked to the dealership and they decided, you know what? I think it would be very healing for people to hear music right now. And so I went out and did that concert, and the store was packed. And then right on the heels of that, this is just a week after 9/11, the following week I had an engagement with the Battle Creek Symphony, and they were on the fence. But then the conductor, Matthew Hazelwood, who is no longer with us, said, you know what, we're going to do this. People need to heal. The auditorium was packed in Battle Creek. I played Concerto in F. I played my variations on Popeye the Sailor Man. And people just went nuts because they needed to be together.
Yeah.
So it's unusual that this is just happening.
It's timely,
today.
though. I mean, it's a timely discussion.
Yeah.
Because,
yeah.
we all remember what we were doing
so
on 9/11.
that's how it happened with Steinway. And it's been a happy.
And you're still there, right?
Oh, yeah. It's been a very happy relationship. Over the years, I got to meet and know Henry Steinway III because when we did the big reveal of the Steinway Essex, it was out at the Ritz-Carlton in Laguna Niguel, and it was, oh my goodness, it was the most elaborate reveal party of a Steinway piano they've ever had. In fact,
and you were the artist that played
I was the artist, and Roger Williams, if you remember him, he was there, and a lot of the famous Steinway artists were there. Well, they had built a stage in the big ballroom, and I did the 13-minute video for the Essex. And at the end of the video, I play I'll Build a Stairway to Paradise. Well, what they did, they built a big, long stage, wide, and they put a scrim up, and it was slit down the middle. And I'm on a track on a white Essex grand piano, with my head down, and they had 4 guys ready to push me through the screen. So it looked like I was bursting through playing I'll Build a Stairway to Paradise. And it was just, it was an amazing thing because Steinway had never done anything like that.
Well, so you have all these Steinway artists there.
Yeah.
Are they sitting there going, who's this guy?
Yeah, kind of, because I had only been on the scene not even a month. With them, and so it was quite a way to be introduced to everyone all at once.
I guess. So are you going to have a big push through at the St. Alban concert? Great.
We'll do our best.
Yeah.
Make a show.
Well, but no, there'll be a meet and greet with the artist, which is yeah. We're going to do that for each concert. Greg says, and they have a lovely social hall there. So
all right, we'll come back and talk more with our guests, Kevin Cole, Greg Galtney here. And we will return after these notes.
Did you know most people with a history
We're back with you in studio with me, Kevin Cole and Greg Gwaltney. Coming up at St. Albans Episcopal Church is an inaugural concert series called Listen to Love, Music and Words to Heal a Heart. It's a series of 4 concerts. We'll remind you of the dates and everything. They are free concerts, but there is a free will offering. And Greg, how does one get their tickets, even though they're free?
Yep, they're free. But we know from our experience last year that we can fill the church pretty quickly when we have great talent. And so we decided this year to ask people to get a free ticket. You get that online. So there are a few ways to do it. You can go to the church's website. So that's stalban-baycity.org. And that's ST for Saint and no periods, just STALBANS at baycity.org. Go to the concert series page and you'll see a link right there to order your ticket. You can order as many tickets as you want. You put each person's name and email in. They will get a response immediately letting them know they have a ticket.
Yeah, please don't get more tickets than you can use.
Right. Yeah, the goal of this is to understand how we're filling the church. And you never know. If we get an outstanding number, I may twist an arm or two to see if we can do something about that to maybe provide an encore performance or something. I can't promise anything, but...
no, you can, but he can't.
but please go and get a ticket, and that would be great. You could also find us on Facebook, and it's on the Facebook post as well, the link to reserve your free seat. It's general seating, so even if you have a ticket, don't wait till the last minute. Yeah. Right? It's like any church. If you wait till the last minute, you know where you're sitting. You're sitting in the front row.
Yeah, I was going to say, church is filled from the back.
Yes. So, and also I want to say, Kevin and I, kind of get the limelight here, but there are a lot of people who are making this happen. The Reverend Nancy Mayhew and Chris Lochner are both on our committee and join us and are doing a lot of work on the inside. And then all the people of St. Albans, the people who make sure things are on social media, on the website. People are going to make sure you have a bite to eat afterward at the Meet the Artist reception. And people who help set up things, people who help tear down things. It's really a community, and it's a church that's used to giving to the community. They do so much in ministries, food ministries, children's ministries. And so they're eager to do this, to invite new people into the church.
So most artists, when they do a concert, after the concert, they're at a table with all their CDs. Will you be doing that?
I will not at this time. I should let your listening audience know that the concerts are 70 to 75 minutes long, no intermission. And I have been finding that is the kind
That's
of
a good time.
Yeah, it's the magical number in the cabaret world. When I just did Feinstein's in Indiana with my new show, Have Fingers Will Travel, I was 72 minutes, and Sylvia McNair was in the audience, of course. And so I asked her afterwards, and she had timed it. It was 72 minutes, perfect. I said, okay. Because she's done plenty of those types of shows, club shows. And so it was good to hear. She said the pacing was good. And because you know me, I like to tell the stories that go with the songs or with the composers. Yep. And in this case, with the new Gershwin show, I'll be doing just that, plus relaying a few personal stories that happened to me when I met them.
We're going to find out what makes this show new when we return, but Kevin's show will be September 28th at 4 p.m., the first of 4 in this series of concerts. We'll tell you about the rest and more when we return after this break.
Gotta go.
Back with you in studio with me, Kevin Cole and Greg Gwaltney at the St. Albans Episcopal Church at 105 South Erie in Bay City. They have a special series of concerts coming up. Listen to Love, Music and Words to Heal the Heart. The first one, our special guest Kevin Cole with us today, September 28th at 4 o'clock. The best of Gershwin. But how did you change the program? Gershwin is Gershwin.
Well, yes, and it's mainly by the selections I've chosen, and also the stories I'm going to tell. When you spruce up something that I've been doing for many decades, you have to be careful because you know what works, and you don't want to upset the apple cart.
You know what people expect,
right? And they can expect the solo version, Gershwin's own, of the Rhapsody in Blue, to be part of that program. But I'm also dusting off some arrangements I did that I haven't played in years. One in particular is from the musical OK, when I did it with the show with the San Francisco Shakespeare Festival back in, 1994. I had to create an opening to Act Two, and originally it would have been two pianos and a full pit orchestra, but I only had four pieces, instrumentalists and myself. So I decided to make it a piano solo for one piano that's supposed to be for two pianos. So I'm dusting that off, and hopefully the illusion of two pianos, that third hand, magically appears.
Yeah, I was going to say, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, so it's things like that, and telling just a little more backstory that people may not know about Gershwin, especially his childhood, because he didn't start out liking music at all and thought his classmates that liked music were sissies. So, I mean, it's just, he wasn't born like Mozart and all these child prodigy. So just exploring that a little bit more, I think, is appealing to the audience.
Do you have all the Gershwin that you played? Do you have it all in tablature form and in sheet music form?
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean...
You never look at it, but do you...
Well, I mean, I will go back and look at things, just to make sure, because it's easy over time to stray from the melody line, and I just want to make sure. Or the Gershwin, when he was writing for film, the melody lines were still great and easy, but the accompaniments underneath and the chords got a little more sophisticated. So you always want to make sure you're using his harmonies, on that.
And just so people know, how many hours a day do you spend at the keyboard?
That's always the $64 million question at this point with inflation. It depends. I think leading up to a concert, especially if it's a symphony engagement, if it's a piece I already know really well, about 2-3 weeks before, maybe an hour to 2 hours a day would be the max. If it's a new piece, certainly a lot more like 3 to 4 hours a day. Because, for example, coming up on September 20th and 21st of this month, I'll be playing with the Windsor Symphony. And I'm doing Concerto in F because we're in the centennial year for the creation of Concerto in F. And I was recently out at Chautauqua, which is south of Buffalo, New York, where Gershwin spent about 5 or 6 weeks working on the Concerto in F, where it was born. So I did several lecture demos about that at Chautauqua. So that piece I've played many times. I've recorded, but still in all, it's Gershwin. It's tricky. He wants to trip you up at every page turn, so I have to constantly review it. But I encourage people, because Windsor's a lovely town and the orchestra is really good, to come to that. That's like I said, it's Saturday, September 20th. At night. I'm not sure the start time, but you can go to the Windsor Symphony website, I'm sure. And then Sunday afternoon, the 21st, which ironically would have been my mom's 94th birthday, first one without her. So, but also I should mention that my good friend Robert Franz, who was the conductor of the Windsor Symphony, passed away unexpectedly 2 weeks ago.
Now you have another tribute.
Yeah, so it was just, luckily, they had a contingency plan of finding another conductor because it's the opening of their season. But I lost a friend, a colleague, and a wonderful conductor. And we had just been in communication this summer about how excited, because it had been a number of years since we had performed together.
All right, so this St. Albans Episcopal Church series begins September 28th, 4 o'clock, with Kevin doing Gershwin. November 16th at 4 o'clock, renowned jazz guitar combo, the Jim